see where Austin is. All right, Counselor, are you gonna get the health and safety? Oh, okay. Okay, all right, they'll probably go ahead and start, but. Okay. Okay. Okay, so he's 2 minutes away.
All right, let's get started. The City of East Cleveland Health and Safety Committee meeting is being called to order. Today is Tuesday, January 14th. Madam Clerk, what time do you have?
I have we got 5:33.
5:33. Roll call.
Counselor Gowdy.
Present.
Counselor Austin is en route. Counselor Martin.
Present.
And we have Lord Hammond as law director, present for the administration. We also have our captain, Scott Gardner here from the police department, and Captain Lundy.
Okay. Remarks of the public on agenda items, 2 minutes. Going once, going twice, let's move on. We're gonna hear from the police department first. Commander Gardner, we're gonna just give your, first tell us about your vision for 2020, any concerns, anything like that, and then I want you to share your opinion on, this legislation of reducing the speed limit on Euclid to 25. So let's start with, what's going on, what is your vision for the police department for 2020? And how, oh, hold it, let the record reflect that Tim Austin is here now.
Great.
Okay.
Great. Good evening, how are you?
Commander Gardner, how you spell your last name?
Gardner.
Okay. We got your name spelled wrong on here, we left the D out. Okay. All right. Okay. Go ahead.
I mean, for 2020, I mean, we're obviously still very at the beginning of the year, so I mean, I don't have, I mean, there's a lot of things that are in transition at this point with the police department, but I mean, things are moving in I feel a positive direction, so I mean, there's nothing specific that I can comment on of any concerns relative, specific to the police department. And did you have a specific question,
Yeah,
Councilman?
I think the last time we spoke about a month ago, you mentioned about hiring 2 police officers to do traffic in cars.
Yes, we actually have 2 officers that are assigned right now to traffic duty. And obviously, because we had to pull those 2 officers off of patrol, we are trying to essentially fill the ranks back up with the 2 officers. I believe Commander Lundy actually just interviewed 2 of the applicants. Do you mind if he sets up and gives you a brief?
Let the record reflect that also,
Commander Tim Lundy.
what's your rank?
Commander.
Commander? Okay,
Right.
all right.
So yeah, we had 2 applicants yesterday. We interviewed 1 black male, 1 white male. Both with pretty, I guess, decent backgrounds, more so in the security profession. In my personal opinion, I think they would be 2 great officers for the city. One of the questions I asked them in particular was, what did they know about the city? They knew that, I mean, obviously the population, police chief, mayor, things like that. They knew that the city was in the process of, kind of rebuild and change was starting here in the city. So, it was my opinion that they were 2 good candidates to be police officers here in East Cleveland.
And they will be just regular police officers will be assigned to this traffic control that's gonna eventually kick in.
These two officers would actually fill the general patrol ranks, because we've already assigned 2 officers from patrol to go specifically to traffic. We actually also assigned 2 officers recently for the warrant unit. There's quite a few warrants, I believe 13,000 warrants that are entered into the system for East Cleveland that have not been served. And unfortunately, we did not, up to this point, have any manpower or anybody dedicated to serving those warrants. I thought that
This
was
is going
a
back
pretty,
how far? Your 13,000 warrants go back how far?
yeah, I mean, it goes back quite a few years.
Okay.
But I mean, obviously, people, they have to be held accountable, they have to have the fear that we may actually take enforcement on it. People are obviously not very concerned about showing up for court, so it's a priority to me to make sure that these warrants are served. So 2 of the officers were also used on the warrant unit at this point. So the 2 officers that we're looking at hiring, there's actually, from what I understand, 4 slots that we have available. It's just unfortunate that our pool is very limited as far as applicants. So if anybody knows anybody that's looking,
I wanted to ask you and Commander Lundy this question. Why do you think there's reluctance for African Americans to apply to be police officers? What's your take on that?
Well, I think just policing in general, I mean, just, you look back 20, 30 years ago, now, I mean, policing was, everybody wanted to be a police officer. Nowadays, I mean, in light of all the issues in policing, I mean, whether it's, legitimate, police law shootings or whatever the case may be, no one wants to be a police anymore. So I mean, your pool is obviously a lot smaller than what it used to be. And let's be honest, I mean, East Cleveland is not the top paid department around, this area. So for a person coming out of the academy, they can come here, East Cleveland for a year, get the experience, and they can go get picked up by Beechwood, spend $70,000, $80,000 a year. That's the bottom line. So I mean, that's our turnovers are always going to be pretty high because we're not paying top dollar. But we try to explain to the guys when they come to the interview process, I mean, you're not going to get rich in this profession. We hope you're going to make a decent living, but you're not going to get rich. And a lot of them know that coming in the door. But you come here for a year and you get some experience under your belt. I mean, it's easy to apply for Beechwood or Shelburne, maybe some Hills, Hudson Valley, and you make $70,000, $80,000 more than the police chief here in East Cleveland. The patrol officer, the suburb. So that's the issue.
Commander Gardner, what's your take on that?
I mean, I pretty much concur. I mean, it's not a specific issue to East Cleveland, it's an issue countrywide. I mean, I subscribe to several law enforcement magazines and keep up with trends of other departments. I mean, it's something that every police department in the United States is suffering at this point. It may affect us a little harder, just again, because of the wages. So it's twofold. The officers that are here, that they're here because they want to be here, because they could easily go somewhere else and make more money. But it's a process of finding those people.
Okay. Before I yield to my colleagues, let's go to ordinance 0220. We don't have it, but we've discussed it about over the last 2 or 3 months. The ordinance pursuant to section 3303 of the codified ordinance of the City of East Cleveland regulating the vehicular speed limit on the City of East Cleveland to change the speed limits to 25 miles per hour from 35 miles per hour for the streets of Superior Avenue at 12501 to 14140 and Euclid Avenue at 12408 to 16383 and declaring an emergency in the health, safety, and public welfare.
Does it say that? You got a different copy than mine?
This is what I'm reading right now.
You got the legislation.
I'm reading the
You guys
legislation.
Make it an emergency. Probably be
Y'all wanna make it an emergency?
We'll know if we will make emergency based on the
So
dialogue
that's
we
a
have with
draft.
you.
It's a draft.
This
so
is
you guys-
this is what I'm reading here, right?
Oh.
This is a draft?
The legislation is a draft until you guys decide if you wanna make it an emergency or not. The, agenda does not say emergency.
So what I'd like for you to articulate is, what's your feeling about the speed limit for maybe the fourth or fifth time now? Okay?
I mean, I came prior, and I understand there's not necessarily the same makeup of the body here,
All
but
right.
I felt it was an issue prior. I still feel even more so now with the recent tragedy. And again, I can't speculate and state that had the speed limit been 25, that she would be alive today.
Yeah.
All right, but again, lowering that speed allows for reactionary time. I mean, it's something that we learned in driver's ed, to provide car lengths for every 10 miles per hour that you're traveling. That 10 mile per hour, again, is going to give someone more reactionary time that I feel is needed, especially with the reduction of the lights. I actually had the opportunity, I was on the road right around school dismissal, and
Today?
no, this is actually about a week ago,
Okay.
and I observed students coming from Heritage Middle School, and they were playing real life Frogger. I had to stop and get out and direct traffic because you have little children that are unsupervised, and you have cars just flying up and down Euclid Avenue. Nobody's yielding to them. It's a huge concern to me. I mean, I don't want to. Again, I can't speculate that a fatality wouldn't have happened, but I believe we are seeing an increase of accidents now on Euclid Avenue, where perhaps the first time that we spoke wasn't there, but now we are receiving additional accidents. I believe it's just an issue that council should definitely take with the utmost consideration.
Well, Commander Lundy, what's your take on that?
I've always been, opponent of just the speed limit being reduced to 25 miles an hour. I don't think, add an extra 10 miles per hour is going to get you from one end of the city to the other end. And, the amount of time that is going to save you time. So I believe it definitely should be reduced.
Thank you. I open to my colleagues. Mr. Austin, you look like you're ready to ask your question, then Juanita Gottlieb.
Okay, traffic enforcement. How do you feel about that? Traffic enforcement plan and, traffic control plan, and because there's other, resources in my opinion that we haven't, adequately executed. What are your thoughts?
I'm assuming, Councilman, you're referring to like just the crosswalks and the lit crosswalks.
If it's a concern about our children doing the school hours across the street, and you've seen that yourself since last week, why didn't you have somebody out there and say, you know what, we got 7 guys that sit in the police station waiting. Put one of them guys out there, when you know Heritage is having a problem, just park them out there. I'm telling you, if I had a uniform, I would stand out there like this, at the corner. And I would dare somebody to ride by and make it dangerous. While I know there's a problem, you could have did something about that, Chief. Stomp your feet, get out there. Put one of them guys out there with a road guard vest, and playtime is over. So don't complain and don't say like the lights could have did this or this. No, put somebody out there doing those school hours. Make it more of a point of enforcement. If you pass me while I'm out there, my guy's gonna pull you over every time they see your car because you are not a person that wants to obey the traffic laws that are in place right now. So we have some enforcement other than just the traffic cameras, snapping pictures of people that don't really want to pay those bills anyway. Put them officers out there on the street, and I guarantee you, if you put them out there for that 1 hour from 2:30 when they get out to 3:30 when that time ends, it's gonna be a whole other ball game. And it's some people out there that I don't give a crap if you say the speed limit is 10 miles an hour. They're not gonna do 10 miles an hour because they'll out there to stop. I'm seeing guys rolling down the street. They know it's 35. They doing 60 because guess what? The East Cleveland police ain't paying no attention, and I don't want to say anything else. I'm just gonna say they didn't see that. So, but if you put a little bit more enforcement out there, that will change the way people do business, guaranteed. So there's some respect that is due to the city if you start enforcing the current policies that are on the books. And the reason I say that is because when I drive through other suburbs, I do 25. Because guess what's gonna happen if you don't? You're gonna get pulled over. If the speed limit is 35, Cleveland Heights right up the street. You know for a fact. If somebody was zooming around Cleveland Heights at 50 miles an hour, it's gonna be more than one officer out there at them. For sure. So I don't wanna hear words no more. I wanna see action about enforcement. And if we have some more enforcement, you get that respect. I guarantee it. You start pulling them out and I'm not talking about handling nobody extra. I'm talking about you deserve this ticket. And with this warning, if you don't pay and come to court, you're gonna see you again, because this is a different committee. I don't wanna come up here and just talk about it. I wanna see results that give us the benefit of having a phenomenal police chief and commander on the team. That I wanna see some officers out there around school time. It's only an hour. Give them 30 minutes to pee, 15 minutes, everybody do their little shift. But if we start doing that, there's no frog, and it's not funny. I find that offensive, especially when you didn't do nothing about it besides yourself. That's the problem. I think this change the speed limit, I don't think that's the answer. If you change the speed limit to 10 miles an hour and don't nobody respect you, only thing they're not doing is drag racing. If you put a couple officers out there, one in the crosswalk, one with a vehicle with his engine running, I bet my retirement check. That you get a different result. And that's, I'm not talking about just change the speed limit. That's not gonna do it.
May I report?
Yes, you may, please.
Okay. I have 2 traffic officers that are out there during that time. Otherwise, I have 4 officers that are on the road. And believe it or not, Councilman, during that school dismissal time, the majority of those officers have to be stationed at Shaw because there are constantly fights. The level of call volume spikes during those dismissal times. I have no officers that can sit and take enforcement action other than the 2 traffic officers who have actually been issuing, I think, about 10 to 15 citations a shift. I only have so much, Councilman. I only have so many officers that I can deploy. You also have to look at the fact that we're not just talking about school dismissal times.
Right.
Okay? We're talking about all times, 24 hours times. And again, my personal opinion, it doesn't take you any longer to travel down Euclid Avenue at 25 miles an hour without traffic lights than it would traveling 35 miles an hour with the lights.
Well, I have one
Yeah.
more. Just making sure that if there is a posted speed light that's missing, I would like to see that thing posted as soon as possible. I think we talked about that a little with the administration. As far as earmarking the zones that are already 35 to 25, I think this would be a phenomenal time to have those zones properly marked. And then we take a look at where we are and if that made a difference. Because having it not properly marked this time, doesn't really give us an accurate picture of what we're likely to do. So just want to, I don't know if it's just the administration that are required to get those signs posted, or the police department going to say that these are our zones. It's my opinion, it should be known.
Okay, you're next.
Well, that's all I have. Just if you want to respond to that, I respect it.
Yeah, I want,
Respond to that.
I want, come on up. Chief of Staff, let the record reflect the Chief of Staff, Michael Smedley. See, why don't you respond to that?
One of the new hires that we hired, some of you met her name is Nicole Blunt, young woman who works at Building and Housing. One of her many talents and expertise is GIS mapping. What we can do is have her give you a GIS map of Euclid Avenue and put the 35 mile per hour and 25 mile per hour signs on a map so that you can see from a top-down view of where the speed changes, which will probably be helpful in your evaluation of what needs to take place in those areas that are 35 miles per hour on Euclid Avenue. So they're working on that tomorrow, and you can just take the page. It'll be a map of Euclid Avenue, and it'll indicate where every 35 mile per hour zone is and every 25 mile per hour zone is, so that you can get a better understanding comprehensively with one look at the speeds that change on Euclid Avenue.
So, what is your preference, Michael Smedley, in terms of, we're dealing with this legislation that's recommending 25 miles per hour on Euclid and Superior. What is your recommendation from your research?
I don't know the rationale of having Euclid Avenue 35, 25, 35, 25, especially in a time where this town was built for 40,000 people at one point. I do understand that in the commercial zones, it's 25. Looking at drivers today who drive on Euclid Avenue with the absence of traffic signals, I believe that the entire Euclid Avenue can be safer if we reduce the speeds in its entirety to 25 instead of going in and out of 35, 25 miles per hour. Will that eliminate all car crashes
No.
and folks running over other folks? I doubt it very seriously, but I think it will reduce the number. And just for the record, at locations, at intersections where there were traffic signals, particularly at Stanwood and Euclid, probably another 40 or 50 feet, there is a traffic signal with a clearly marked crosswalk. And for those folks who are living in that area, in and around that area, if they can just walk an extra 20 feet today, or back then in particular, to that crosswalk that's at Shaw and Euclid, and most folks were, which made it safer. So, as a matter of fact, today we filled out an application with ODOT. When we met with the governor, the councilman here suggested that they manipulate crosswalks, and we may end up having the opportunity to apply for a grant to do exactly that, to enlarge crosswalks as well as getting crosswalks in other areas of the city where traffic signals have been taken down. But my overall opinion is that the entire stretch of Euclid Avenue should be 25 miles an hour.
Okay, before I yield to my council colleague, Juanita Gotti, I want to hear from the mayor. What the discussion is to 25 miles per hour on Euclid. What is your feel? What is your recommendation?
Councilman, so we've been at this for a while,
Yes.
and I'll state it again. It's tricky to patrol Euclid, because if you come from Noble going west, there are some incorrectly marked 35-mile-an-hour signs. And then going from Lakeview east, there are some 25-mile-an-hour signs. So particularly in the area of Lee Road and Euclid, if I'm not mistaken, there's a 35-mile-an-hour sign on the north side of the street and a 25-mile-an-hour sign. So it's really hard for the police to even issue tickets with the signs switching like that. If it was all one speed, and again, per the Ohio Bureau of Motor Vehicles, it should all be one speed, because it is recognized as a business district up and down Euclid, except for the one area here, down here. So just for consistency and to better allow our police to do their jobs and to slow traffic down for safety purposes, I would recommend 25 miles an hour in the end.
Thank you. Ms. Gotti.
Yeah, I definitely agree for 25 miles per hour. But I do have a question to ask Gardner. The 2 officers that you let go and the 2 that you replaced, what is their name?
The officers that I put in the traffic unit are the ones that are coming in to,
To come, 2 of them is coming, and you said you hired 2, right?
I actually have not interviewed them yet, so I'm
So
not,
you
We
have,
interviewed 2 yesterday, yeah, so they still have some additional interviews they have to go through. Then the 2 officers who's assigned to the traffic unit is Officer Brian Parks and Officer Rayvon Wiggins.
okay. And, you were saying, because of the low pay, is there any way that y'all, I mean, because when the officers come to East Cleveland, we really want them to be stable, and we definitely need them to stay. So I know y'all need a raise, so is there any way we can try to get some money to keep them stable and Because these are officers that got their life on the line just as well as we got our life on the line, and hope that we can trust them and they can trust us and we build a relationship together. So is there any way we can try to keep them here? Because this has been going on too long. And another thing, the flashes, like the school zone, it's like 20, but it stays on too long, all day. So is there anything that we can do about that? Because sometimes the school is already, they already in school and it's still 20, you know, the flashing saying 20, so I don't want nobody to get a ticket if it ain't no school zone and school is like in session.
Yes, oh, sorry.
So, for that, and I'll go start and go back. It is the municipality's prerogative to have a school flashing sign at 20 miles per hour for the entire school day. So municipalities have that prerogative. For the staffing and salaries, we've negotiated a union contract in 2019. There were increases in 2019. We promoted probably close to 45% of the police officers in the department. So some officers got 2 raises in the year 2019. So we are making strides in that area. As a matter of fact, the mayor has just authorized in 2019 to 2020 for a $1 increase for about 95% of the staff. Service CDL drivers got from $1 to $4 increases, bringing them all up to $15 an hour. We increased the pay for inspectors. So it's a comprehensive look at staffing in its totality, not simply looking at a single department. Our next negotiations will be with the firefighters, and I'm sure that there will be an increase for them as well. But my final note on the 25 mile per hour, and some people think that, hey, if you lower the speed, you will increase tickets. I submit to you, if you go from 35, 25, 35, 25, 35, and we are to enforce that, more tickets will be issued because you have to slow down, speed up, slow down, speed up, slow down. And I related to the traffic camera program. When we, in 2010, 2011, when ATS took over the photo enforcement program, the traffic camera tickets, we did a 90-day grace when we installed them. For 90 days, East Clevelanders drove up and down the intersections where traffic signals were, and they were forgiven until they learned the pattern and where these things are and how to slow down and drive in the city. And as a result of that, only 12% of residents who live in the city ever get a citation. Right? That means 88% of folks who are issued a citation are from other cities. So East Cleveland, we have a pattern of adjusting to changes in our driving laws. We do it very well, and it's normally successful. To go 35, 25, 35, 25, and to enforce that up and down Euclid Avenue, you'll see more folks getting citations because generally folks drive 35 miles per hour all the way through Euclid Avenue, and the police never stop them, even in the 25 mile per hour zones.
Excuse me, and another thing before I got interrupted, I wanted to know how much is the training, how much do they, when the police officers come in, how much do they actually get an hour?
You mean the starting pay?
The starting pay?
How much do they get paid? They would start off the 3rd grade patrolman rate on
Now with the new contract, it's maybe 18, almost 19 bucks.
19
Maybe a
bucks.
little over 19.
And the overtime?
It's time and a half. 19 times 950 plus 950.
Maybe about 26.
28.50 an hour.
28.50 an hour.
$28 to $29 an hour.
And that's when the ones that come in. And the ones that stay, how much do y'all get?
There's three levels, so you have second, so essentially, once you clear probation, you go to second grade. I believe it might be $1 raise in between second grade.
Like $29.
Then after another year, you are promoted to first grade. First grade is the top grade, top out pay, and that would be another $1 an hour approximately from what second grade
So that's
is.
$30.
That's just overtime.
And that's with overtime, part-time.
Yeah, each one we get, yes.
Okay, so, you know, why can't we just give them a flat rate and then we go from there, you know, to come in with some money? Instead of working hard like that to get the overtime, because I know you got families and stuff. You know?
So there's a compensation package that we negotiate with the union. The only time we give increases is when we negotiate with the union. When you give an hourly increase, you're not just giving them an increase on their hourly pay, that means you're giving them an increase in their pension contributions. They get full health insurance. We pay for a family about $20,000 to $23,000. That's what it's worth, $20,000 to $23,000 per officer. The wages, benefits, health insurance package is worth about $65,000 per officer coming through the door.
Oh,
So,
So the benefits is really good.
you have police and fire pension, you have health insurance, you have deferred comp, you have a really decent package when you come here. And then you actually get the training of becoming a real police officer. That's why you see officers who start in East Cleveland, been here for 5 or 6 years, go to another community, they're always coming back. Always coming back. We even have the former chief of police who's trying to come back to the city of East Cleveland.
Guyton?
No. Spots.
Oh.
In East Cleveland, officers choose to come to the city of East Cleveland. They know what the pay is before they get here. There's no wool over anybody's eyes. There is no tricks. They know exactly what the compensation package is when they apply to be a police officer in East Cleveland. And a testament to that are the two gentlemen to my left who are still here and who can go anywhere in the state of Ohio and get a job doing police work. They choose to be here, they stay here, and they do a great job.
They said the pay wasn't good.
Because it's not all about pay.
Yeah, but that's what they
It's
said.
not about pay. It's not all about pay.
Okay.
Chief, are you here because of the salary?
I am not, no.
Captain Lundy, are you here because of the salary?
I'm not.
So-
Here for long haul.
All right, I need to stay focused.
We are.
God,
focused.
any more questions?
I'm concerned about their pay and I want them to be stable. And I definitely want you to know that the safety of the people is really a joy. You know, and you so far on, I mean, like earlier I have seen a big accident and y'all are on the spot. And if it take all that to be out there, do it again for the safety of the people. Thank you.
Okay, I want to hear from the law director on this. I'd like to get your feel, because we've discussed it so long, and this is my last time dealing with this. When I'm putting it on, I'm hoping that this committee recommend that we have it at the next meeting, next week. Thursday, the agenda review, Dr. Guy, and then the next council meeting will be the third Tuesday. So, the law director, what's your feel on this 25 miles per hour?
Well, I worked with the police department to craft the legislation, and I worked with them with the idea that it would help enhance the safety of the community for the residents, for children, teenagers, as well as seniors, as well as everybody, and my view mirrors that of the administration. And I think that it would, behoove the city to possibly change it from emergency to 1 and 2 readings though.
Well, I'm contemplating that, but in these kind of committees, you're trying to get a feel for what people are saying. I see Councilman Austin, Smith, and I'd like to get his opinion because he's going to have to vote on this. So I'm asking you if you would come forward, and I'd like to know how you feel about this 25 miles per hour. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Chairman.
All right.
Chief Commander, Chief Staff, Mayor, colleagues, all that record, Dr. Jack. As stated before, I don't agree with it, with the 35 changing to 25. I can keep my comments real short and brief because we've been over this time and time again, especially since the two lights are back on Stradmore and right here on Marlowe. The traffic definitely have been slowing down. As you look at the past, when those lights are up, haven't been a lot of accidents. I don't foresee it being a lot of accidents now. As I've been stated, my main concern were the two lights. Working together, I feel that we together got those two lights back up. I've also talked to the judge, did my due diligence and talked to the judge. He said most of the tickets, there are 50 miles per hour anyway. And I forgot who said it, but somebody said it. If we change the speed limit down to 10 miles per hour, people gonna do what they wanna do. And the majority of the tickets that he sees are around 50 miles per hour. So that's not with the speed limit being 25, 35, 25. And if the signs have been wrong all these years, then that's a problem with us, the elected officials, even though I wasn't here, all of us are new. But that's, in my eyes, and this is, I believe the mayor mean even before him. That means that we've been, I'm saying we, because we are elected officials, we've been deceiving the people. If there's signs out there that don't belong out there, we here now. So we deceiving the people. We need to find out what are the real speed limits and put that out there for the people before we decide to change anything.
Well, I wanted your opinion because you will be voting on this. To me, the paramount issue here is safety.
Absolutely.
And as much, if you're going 25, it's much easier to slow down than you're doing 35 or 45, whether it's signs or whatever. If you put signs up where people still gonna go too fast, whatever the case may be. I was reluctant at first because I drove down Euclid for about 2 weeks and I tested it. And I just kind of felt that 25 was kind of slow. And then I put a perspective on it and I said, the 25 is reasonable. Plus, with the economic development we got, we want people to slow down and stop at their stores, and that they can do that flying through here 35, 45, or 50. And then the police officer still has the discretion of giving a ticket at whatever, once they go past that speed limit.
Absolutely, but no disrespect, we have the finest officers in the world, but when the last time you heard someone gave an 11 mile per hour discretion? Come on now.
What you mean 11 miles per hour?
When our great officers pull someone over, when the last time you heard somebody saying, well, the discretion that was described to us, as far as the 10, 11 miles per hour over the speed limit, when have anybody ever said that to you that they have got a discretion, they got a break because they were going 10, 11 miles per hour over the speed limit and got a break?
Well,
It don't happen. I'm sure it happens sometimes, but it don't happen often.
But the issue is safety.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And the two lights are back there, like I said,
But you opposed to the 25.
absolutely, like I said.
So I need to know that so I know how we need to pursue this.
You already know that.
Right. Well, no, I need to know for the record. So
I'm well on the record.
okay. So I appreciate your honesty, brother.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Okay.
And trust me, my feelings are not just mine. I go out and I talk to the people of East Cleveland. My feelings are based on the feelings of the people of the great city of East Cleveland. I mean, as you were stating a month ago when we were on the same page about this, 35 miles per hour feel like walking a lot of times down here. It's not that fast.
You mean 20?
No, 35 is not that fast. And our great and I do see the officers out there at school time, probably because I live right there and I do our little program. They be in the black cars, also seeing them. I don't want to describe the cars, but they also be out there in the morning. Great. I see them all the time, so that's great. And But we need more people to step in and help, but that's a whole other different story. But, yeah, 35 is walking. It's slow already. I feel that the 2 lights are up.
No, you type your
We disagree sometimes, we still get along. The 2 lights are back up. I've been observing the traffic since the lights back up. It's back slowing down. Like I said, that light, even when it was blinking right there on Stanwood, it was slowing down the traffic. And now that the light is working, it's stopping the traffic. And you have to go and you have to stop at that other light. And I can't say I walked in the mayor's office and they was having a meeting with ODOT and they were fighting for more lights to go up. And I'm really will not be for changing to 25 if that fight works and more of those lights go up.
So your thing is the lights, should actually keep things
No, I've
on?
been explaining all my life. The lights.
Okay. Now, Mary, I see you wanted to say something.
Yeah, from an engineering perspective, what they do is, say they'll come out to Euclid and Noble, and they'll start there, and then once we decide on the speed, let's say we decide on 25 miles an hour, they will start there, and they will go in the end, get up to 25, and they'll go in the end at 25 and stop at no lights. The engineer will set it in that fashion so that you can get through the city without having to stop. Now, if you remember the old lights, because the engineering was all off, you stop
right here.
there, you stop there, and you stop there, because the engineering was off. So if we decide on one speed, hopefully it's 25, because you get up to 25 and you hold it, and you'll be fine. As opposed to a 35, right? At 35, right, is a faster speed, and people always tend to go faster, and you're gonna run into safety issues, because even though you have the light, it's not programmed to stop traffic. It's programmed to let traffic flow from end to end, once the engineering sets it correctly. So that's, I just remember that.
Okay, any final comments?
Yeah, I have a note that I remember.
Okay, go ahead.
The
Mr. Austin.
representative from ODOT came in, he talked about why the study was done and how it benefits our community to have those lights removed. The ones that were removed and not the ones that were to stay and what have you. But the ones that were removed so we can have cleaner air. I said, what clean air? Did he really mean clean air? Because he said if you had all those stops, that would allow the vehicles to idle and build up the carbon monoxide or whatever those pollutants are, emissions in our area. And so with a small radius and a whole lot of engines running simultaneously, that's a whole lot less clean air that we have to breathe. So I said, okay, I thought he was just using that as a term, but that is a fact that he said it would help us with our clean air plan for the future. So I thought that was kind of cool. So I gave him a high five and thank you for the information. Yeah, it does affect the population and our clean air. We'll have your vehicles idling and synchronizing the lights will definitely help. But I thank the Ohio Department of Transportation for putting up those lights in such a great fashion, and keep in mind, we are gonna get some brand new signals. Those are old signals they got from wherever. We expect to be higher, more technology in our signal, the voice activator, the motion sensor lights, and better crosswalks, wider avenues, and more long-lasting paint for our students, and safety for everybody. That's good.
So I'm suggesting, based on the conversation and what I'm hearing from Brother Smith, and I don't know where Ms. Stevenson stands on this, so that we can make some progress on this, that we change it from an emergency to 2 readings, okay? Right? Are you comfortable with that?
I'm comfortable with that, and I also want to be advised that we want you marking our street signs, correction, the signals that are required, as well as whatever speed limit posted, properly posted, and there's no conflict with whether you're going 25 that way, 35 that way, fix that. So once that's fixed, then we'll have an opportunity to take a look at it, and you may want to table this for a little bit longer until we get all these unnecessary anomalies fixed.
We can't fix it. If you have legislation to do so.
We can tell them what it is right now, what it should be right now. So
So what it should be is 25 in the end.
You know, I'm talking about, if it says 35, it's supposed to be 35 for a reason right now. Let's deconflict that on the ground.
Nobody changed it.
You're the mayor, make it happen.
Okay. I don't have a problem with
Yeah,
that.
that's all I'm asking.
I don't have a problem. Thank you.
No, I'm talking about as far as fixing the sign. There's missing signs that conflict, deconflict that. Your law director can help with that, and you know, make it, No, we don't need the legislation. I'm talking about right now the ground is broken. That's what I understood. Is that right? Fix it on the ground. Fix it on the ground.
But if we do 2 readings, you have time to
Just,
get that in place. So what I'm going to do here, Brother Smith, since you're going to be voting on this, we're going to go with the recommendation of 25, and we're going to do 2 readings. That'll give, first of all, once it's passed, it's going to go into effect for what, 60 days, 30 days, 30 days. Right, so that's basically.
I appreciate that, 'cause my main thing is to get more people in here, and instead of them always hearing from us, let's hear from them. Because, you know, we can do our both sides of things and this and that, but I really have a problem if somewhere it should have been this, and it's been this all since I've been growing up. I got a problem with that, which is before us. But it's on us. It's on us right now.
You
I got a
don't
big
want
problem
that.
with that.
And I'm with that, then we have consistency down here, it's 25 all the way down. Okay, then, I know you talked about these flashing things they have at University Hospital, and maybe putting them somewhere, is ODOT willing to assist us with that?
Absolutely. As the
Okay.
council president mentioned and Councilor Austin mentioned, when they walked in, that was a heated conversation we were having with ODOT. So we're gonna overlay that with the traffic control.
All right, well, I think we're all right with that.
We're gonna be making progress.
Okay, so, Dr. Guy, you know what to do with this, right? You change it to, take the emergency off, okay? That's it, gentlemen, thank you. Now, Mike Salik is here from the fire department. Mike, would you come up for a second? We're gonna be great, not long, we just need to know, what your vision is for the police department, anything we need to know, the fire department. Okay. And just go over this, right, let me get one to it. Dr. Guy, here, okay. Fire, Mike Salik.
I gotta look over here while you look at that.
So basically, you know, we made some progress in the last 12 months with dispatch and a few other things that we've done equipment-wise, grants. The vision for this year is to continue to build on the department, as well as we have a few vacancies that we need to hire for. And then we have to figure out how we're gonna maintain these positions after the grants run out. So that's a lot of focus right now.
But just for the grants, not to cut you off, but kind of elaborate when the grants gonna run out and name the grants.
We have a couple different grants. We have the AFG grant, which is Assistance to Firefighters Grant. That's where we buy a lot of our tools and equipment through when we get approved. And then we have the SAFER grant, which is staffing for adequate fire ground operations. We have 2 of those grants going right now. One of them runs out at the end of 2020, not to be renewed per the rules. And one runs out in 2020, at the end of 2021, not to be renewed. That's a total of 18 guys
In between the 2 grants?
between those 2 grants. We've carried them for, Chief, how many years now? 3 years. 3 years now. We've had the one, the other one, we are in just starting the 2nd year. So, that said, we have to figure out how we're gonna continue to maintain those positions. We've looked into, we've already started some billing stuff. So hopefully that starts coming in. We're looking to change the way that we do our ambulance billing, which will hopefully generate more funds, but we have to deal with the state on that one. Getting them to agree to change their legislation is
painful. Besides that, the packets that I gave you, this is a breakdown of our call volume for the entire year. As you can see,
You wanna highlight, we won't be able to peruse the whole.
well, I mean,
Just highlight
basically,
some
we
key
break
stuff
down, we
here.
break down how many, what kind of calls we go on these first 3 pages,
Okay,
medical wise. Each month, we tally it up. How many transports we have is also on page 3. Page 4 is the, average calls per day.
I see it.
It's pretty all self-explanatory. Break it down per hour, 4-hour, 6-hour blocks. How many calls we go on. Platoon activity, which platoons are running calls, more calls, training hours, inspections. The important one is probably, and the thing that I really would want to point out here is right before you guys get to the graphs.
Which one is that? I see it run by day, run time
Keep going.
of day, and then
That one right
it says
there. If you look,
YTM comparison, is that what you want?
yeah, year-to-date,
Yeah.
year-to-month comparisons. If you look on that last December 19th, maybe about 6 columns over.
Which says total,
Mhm.
6451?
Well, right after that,
Okay,
the 296,
right,
that's the increase in call volume for this year.
It's an increase of 296?
296 calls we increased from 18 to 19. And we're talking about, today we have 12 guys on duty? 10 guys on duty. If we lose that grant, we'll be doing that with 5.
wow.
And that's a lot of call volumes. That's 20 calls a day. So, that's, like I said, that's where my focus is for this year, is working through all of that. As, I believe Chief of Staff said, we are going into contract negotiations this year. Other than that, that's all I got. I invite all of you to come over and see how things are over there, and if you got any questions, got an open door for everybody. The mayor's been over several
Well,
times.
the new council people, Ms. Stevenson just came in.
I have met with Ms.
Uh,
Dowdy.
Have you met, has Ms. Stevenson been over?
No, she has not.
And I haven't been over in a while, I've been often over years. So that's the invitation to come check out the fire, and the same the invitation for the police too. I know over the years I've rode with them for a little while, see what they deal with. They deal with a whole lot. Okay.
Anytime you guys want to come over, we do, like I said, we welcome you guys.
Equipment wise, you set, you feel comfortable with 2020?
We are, the new ambulance that we got off of the FEMA grant will be in, it's actually leaving Iowa on the 16th. It will go to Canton, where we'll get the radios put in it and the decals. And then, once it's done there, we do the final inspection on it, we get the approval, then we're sending it to our mechanics to have it undercoated so that it lasts.
Okay.
Once that's complete, we'll have 5 ambulances, and we are working on hopefully getting a new pumper in the next few years. It's at least a 2-year process. It's about a year to design it, and a year to have it built. And, of course, that gives us plenty of time to find the funding somehow, some way.
All right, Mayor?
So if I could add to that,
All right.
the previous council, and I'm sure this council would agree, previous council passed legislation allowing me to lease the vehicle. And we're just sitting and kind of waiting to see how some of the, in particular, the red light lawsuit kind of ends up in the Supreme Court. But council has passed, and I think the chief thanks you for allowing that to happen. It take a year, a little over a year, to design and then build it. but we have been approved for financing, and council did pass legislation allowing for it to be leased to all. When was the last time you had a new fire truck?
2000. So they have, on pumpers, per NFPA standard, you have 20 years of frontline service. One of ours is a 99, the other one is a 2000. On ladder trucks, you have 25 years. The ladder truck that we bought since I've been here is out of service. It has well over $100,000 worth of repairs that need done to it. The mayor bought a used one out of Virginia? West Virginia? Well, I think it was West Virginia. That's in 1991, so it has surpassed its life expectancy, but luckily it came from a city that didn't really have a lot of fires and didn't really use it. What's killing us is repair. These things are starting to break down at an alarming rate. We've done an excellent job in the last 4 years of investing money into these vehicles. But there's gonna come a point in time you can only fix something so many times before you just gotta.
Well, before I yield to my colleagues, what's your feeling on this, losing these 18 firefighters and the grants from now? What is the strategy to counter that?
The strategy is well, first of all, we're working hard with just trying to increase our billing, our ambulance billing. We're billing for MVAs now. You guys passed the legislation for the MVA billing and accident mitigation, fire mitigation, so we can bill for fires. The problem that we run into, the unforeseen problem, is we have an alarming rate of drivers in this city that don't have insurance. And it's amazing to me how many people don't have insurance. Homeowners insurance, renters insurance. Renters insurance is a whopping $6 a month maybe, and they're not getting it. And not only for our billing aspect, but these people are losing everything when they have a house fire, and all it would cost them was $6 a month to get it reimbursed. If there's one thing that I can say, is get insurance. Some of the other things, like I said, we're working with University Hospital, and hopefully with that will come the community paramedicine program, which should hopefully bring some funds into us to kind of offset the balance that we need to maintain these 18 individuals over the next 2 years.
Are you doing anything with Shaw High School to get some of our young people
I don't
to
think
be
they have a program
firefighters?
anymore. Chief, do they have a program anymore? I think the guy that was running it last year is out.
They are not certified at this point. We have been in conversations with the new CEO, Dr. Pettigrew, of getting that reinstated, as well as getting police cadets to come out of there as well. So,
All right, I yield to my colleagues, Mr. Austin.
Yes, Chief.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm well, thank you.
How's your day?
No, you
I work.
great. You know, I got one. So, I made a little block here talking about the plans to maintain the 18 firefighters.
Yes.
I think the grant writer come from the governor's office. Is that something that the chief could possibly tap into, or?
so yes, and the chief has excellent grant writers in his department now, and it's just a matter of reapplying for the SAFER grant and the other grants that they have. So you gotta keep your fingers crossed that the funding for that stays in place so we can keep it going.
You know, oftentimes, sometimes the state might have something special that they haven't, told or posted on Google yet.
And
So,
absolutely, yes.
Just as a, no pressure, as a thought.
I have their information.
Right. I would like to know if you can come before the Contracts and Property Committee to discuss some of the innovations that you put in place to make it so that insurance companies can be more favorable to our residents to help them maintain their property insurance. 'Cause a whole lot of people have been dropped because of the community in which we live and some of the perceived hazards. So that's the invite for you to come before the Contracts and Property Committee, and I'll make it more formal.
I'm sorry, one of the things, not to cut you off, one of the things that we've worked hard at for the last 3 years is to get our insurance rating up. In 2017, we were at a 5 for our insurance rating. Through just making a few changes, once I was in the chief's office, we made a few changes. Our last evaluation brought us up to a 4, which is savings that's passed along to our business owners, our property owners, anybody, you know. If your insurance company checks those ratings and they see a 4 instead of a 5, it could be a cost savings of, $60 a month maybe. Now that we have dispatching, once we get reevaluated and we move a few more things, we'll be teetering between right on the border of becoming a 2. So we may jump from a 4 all the way up to a 2, which is huge cost savings. I think nationwide, there's probably only about 300 fire departments that are a class 1. And in order to do that, it would be a huge, phenomenal cost to us, because you have to have, 4 guys on every fire truck, 4 guys on every ladder truck, and we just don't have the money for that. So, just through increasing training, dispatching, CAD systems, different things, we're gonna be right there, high 3, low 2.
Feather in your cap, Chief.
What's that?
A feather in your cap. So I appreciate that. There was a large fire, I think, and I remember Cleveland Heights coming out there to help over on that end of the city. Fannie Mae, I think her name is Fannie Mae. Fannie Hall, yeah. What street does she live on?
So Arbondale or Dover?
No.
What's Belinda?
But
Kentucky
she's
Fried
in Ward
Chicken
2, yes. That's in Ward
Delmont.
2. Delmont, yes.
Delmont.
And I remember that one of the other fire departments, while I was walking by, because I carried off something big going on the city, I went out there to check. And they were, talking crap respectfully about our ladder truck not working, just not having enough water pressure in that area. You remember that fire I'm talking about? Where it was like a house that burned down completely in the center, and then there was like 2 or 3 houses in that area that also caught fire because
That was
of.
125th.
Okay. Not this end, I'm talking the way down that end.
125th, that was
Okay.
2 days after the house explosion.
Yes, yeah, that would be about right, yes. So with that, there was some discussion from other, I was just kind of overhearing because maybe I was too close to the firemen doing what they gotta do. And they were talking about our equipment not working, and when we had an opportunity to get some upgrades, and take some steps forward with the equipment, I was very, very excited. I know it may be painful financially at first, but when it comes to saving your life, limb, and eyesight, you gotta suffer that pain. I'd rather suffer a little bit on the cash side than suffer on my skin. So I do want to applaud you for your want and desire to make our equipment better, and don't stop. Don't stop. I mean, have respect for or appreciation for the sacrifice that the city need to make to make it better, so we can live another day. But don't stop seeking technology and finding initiatives that will help us get better and safer. That is all I have. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
So the pressure has been fixed in those fire hydrants, if I'm not mistaken.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. So it wasn't the equipment, it was the pressure.
It was the equipment
Our
and
equipment.
No?
The water pressure.
Well,
yeah.
you have to understand that we're not Cleveland Heights. So when Cleveland Heights comes down here and sees a scratch in our engine, we're garbage.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we actually work. We're not Cleveland. Cleveland thinks they're the prima donna of everything. So yeah, there's fist fights that do happen over this stuff. I'm not even gonna lie. But pound for pound, ounce for ounce, body for body, I will take any one of those 45 guys that are over there against any 45 guys in the state of Ohio. And we will clean out of our.
You like that, Randy?
And then we'll put out a fire.
Right?
Well, you know, Chief, I wanna tell you that I support. That means that if we need something, let's figure out a way to get it. And not necessarily just based on what we have in the general fund or what we have in the bank. Let's figure out a solution that would be acceptable and honorable to continue to get what we need to be okay. Or to thrive, not just okay, to thrive. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Juanita Gotti?
Oh, well, I mean, he summed it up, and, I'm with that, the safety and trying to bring more to the table, you know, if you can, you know. because
We're working hard over there.
And we want to thank you for your hard work.
I'm hopeful with the administration and the collaboration between the legislative body and administration and the economic development that is right around the corner. The tax base is going to increase, and with that, we'll be able to do more. And I see that happening within the next 5 years. So we're hopeful, both you, Mike Sleeker, and Scott Gardner, and the police and fire is crucial to any municipality. And like I've stated, my 26 years up here, we've always supported fire and police. I can't think of anything that ever come before us that we don't vote for when it comes to fire and police. So people have to be safe. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, I want you to read that. You ready? Okay, thank you. Thank you. No. This is the last piece. I'm running over Mr. Smith's time. So we want to get through this. Yeah. It's on the agenda. Okay, read,
Resolution number
120.
120, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding between the Northeast Ohio region of the American Red Cross and the city of East Cleveland, Ohio, through its fire department to document cooperation between the two organizations in conducting smoke alarm installations and fire safety education in the community, requested by the fire chief and sponsored by Mayor Daniel Martin, Council at Large.
I would like, Mike, would you come up one more time and articulate this to a council? I hope that Corrine and Ernest are listening to this. Go ahead.
Basically, this is a memorandum of understanding that, we wanna enter into with, who is it with? The Red Cross, thank you. Red Cross, so that we can get the smoke detector program up and running again. They will not just give us smoke detectors any longer. Nobody gets them. You have to go through the steps, the process. They give you the person fills out the application. They either deliver them to us or our fire prevention officer, which we finally put one in the office the last 2 months of last year. He will go down and pick them up. He will go down and install them. What they will give us, I don't want to say an unlimited supply of, is the batteries that go along with the smoke detectors. Anybody can come in and get us a battery for a smoke detector. In order to get a smoke detector, though, you have to fill out the application, you have to be a resident, you have to show proof of that, and that's basically just a memorandum of understanding between us and the Red Cross, so that there's no legality in it. Our law director has read it over, she was okay with it, and we're looking for your approval.
Thank you. I want you to articulate also, you can, Dr. Guy, you can add the other council people that want to sponsor this too.
I want to co-sponsor.
Okay. And we'll do it, put their names, not as committee as a whole, but based on what I've been hearing over the last few months, each council person on here. Okay. My last question on this one, then we got to move on for Ernest. A smoke alarm hotline that will be used to accept requests from residents who are seeking installation of smoke alarms. Just elaborate on that.
That will be, like I said, our fire prevention officer will receive the smoke detectors, and either himself or he'll detail it out to the guys that are on shift to go out and install them. We've already purchased the cordless drill to do so, and anytime you need a smoke alarm, you just fill out the application and we'll handle it.
Thank you. So are we okay for this to go forward? Forward.
Forward.
Let's go forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, remarks of the request of public 3 minutes. Yeah, you can take it. Yes. Yes, right. But, for 2 weeks, take the emergency. Yeah, right. Okay.
Okay, as this resolution 2020, that does constitute an emergency, whereas a lot of other stuff does not. This is concerning health and safety of the city, which you are totally responsible for seeing that this city is safe and the residents in the city are safe. Number two, it is not the responsibility of the mayor to enforce this. Council put it in legislation. He has to carry it out, not the mayor. You put the law on the books, and he is to enforce those laws. That's how it operates. That's how council's job is right here. You legislate and you authorize. And so some people kind of take, they don't know that, and they kind of get up here and speak about stuff behind that. That is your responsibility, whether you like it or not. So if you don't like it, that's the door. Right? So that is your job. So you put the law in the books and he does not enforce it, then his posterior is on the line. That's what the law is about. That's why you have legislators. You legislate, and he carries it out for him. And I totally, strongly differ with anyone saying that this piece of legislation is not an emergency. It doesn't matter who said it. It is an emergency. The lives are more important than they got to wait another 30 days. And there has always been speed limits on Euclid Avenue. We put up signs because there weren't any signs. That's the problem. There are some areas 25, there are some areas 20, and there are some areas of 35 on Euclid Avenue. And so I don't know why it's so difficult for this council to come together and show some leadership and some responsibility of their duty in reference to the safety of the city. It doesn't take no Einstein to fathom that. That is your job. If you want it 35, you put it 35. If you want it 25, you put the legislation 25. You don't have to go around asking this one or that one. You're looking out for the interest of the city. That's your responsibility. And no one can refute that. Absolutely no one. So let it be said.
Let it be done?
Let it be done. Omaze has spoken.
Okay. Anyone else? Justin Anderson.
Just going over my notes. I was hoping that the mayor could stay, but because he's sort of games on purpose, I'm sure he could have waited an extra 2 minutes. After all, this is his primary duties in the city and all these committee meetings. So he could have moved another meeting to 6:35 or 6:50 or whatever other time, but he should have stayed here. These are his priorities. Let me explain very briefly to you all, because you seem to think that 3 council people, you need 3 votes or you need 4 and all that. Each council person holds his own so-called powers, what they say. you can get just as much done as the three. For example, let's say you wanted to write the auditor of state and express lack of confidence in our finance director, or just an example, or our law director, to hold the same amount of weight as it is if you had three of them. So you don't really need 3 votes to be able to speak up when something is we talked about, and you know something's going wrong. I wouldn't care if I was up here by myself and it was 50 other council people and they all disagree with me. If I feel that something is wrong, I'll speak on it. I'm not gonna say, well, I'm up here by myself. Nobody cares. You're up here and you were elected by the people and they expect you to speak up and handle business which they elected you to. And third, I see officers at the schools, so I understand what the chief was saying. He has to have most of his officers at Shaw. I just got out of high school some years ago, and there's a lot of fights and things down there, so he has to put most of his officers down there because that's where all the crazy ruckus is going on. And there are plenty of them down there. I see at least 4 or 5 of them after school is let out down at Shaw every day. But like you said, you were right when you said we need to create some type of atmosphere around here that people ride through and know, okay, I ain't flying through these students because I know they somewhere. If I go up to Shaker or in Westlake, somewhere like that, I'm not going flying because they don't play out here. So we have to create that type of atmosphere in here. Darrell Fields' property in Ward 2. It I know that's not 3 minutes, but it has been just sitting. So what are we doing with Darrell Fields' property? I mean, is he just gonna leave that mess like that? And Darrell Scott also. What are they doing with their property? Are they just gonna leave it? That's mostly Ward 2.
Darrell Scott. It was
Darrell
Darrell Scott.
Scott is Ward 2. He is the pastor of New Spirit Bible Center up there.
You mean the on Taylor that when he tore that stuff down 3 or 4 years
No,
ago?
he got property in Ward 2 on Euclid, the old daycare that's just raggedy and sitting in Darrell Fields also. So I don't know what's going on with their property.
Thank you. Response of the mayor.
You got one more.
Oh, Beatles, come on up, Beatles Saeed.
Good morning, everybody.
All right.
16, 17 Allegheny Circle. I am glad that they're considering, that you are hopefully considering, putting a smoking out program on the books because I do have issues myself in, thinking that if I don't be careful, I can set my own house on fire. And I'm sure that other people that's have the same situation. Now, I have smoke alarms in my house, but for some reason they're not working. And I put batteries in them and they're not working properly. So it would help to have that alternative to get it from the fire department. You know? And make sure that I have a good working smoke alarm to be able to protect myself from any kind of danger of fire. Secondly, just wanted to announce that I'm delegate nominee for the delegate nominee for the next president of the United States.
What president, Beatles Saeed?
I didn't know it was.
You can.
I'm supporting Bloomberg, Michael R. Bloomberg for president. And I have a picture party that's coming up Saturday, February 1st. Okay. So I would, send some out to receive the applications soon. And also, the other thing, my concern is police is not always reporting incidents or even their calls, because I called the police station to inquire about an incident that occurred, and they have no record of it. even,
Not too broad.
so I'm very disappointed about that, because, even so, the prosecutor needed information himself, and, you know, sometimes I'm disappointed in some of the prosecutor office, lack of concern on some of the issues. That's all I wanted to say, I did that connection.
Thank you. Willingham, do you have a response for the mayor?
Well, I'm happy to.
He's right there, man. He's outside.
Yeah, he's going back up. Randy, you wanna say something before you go back up? All right, go ahead.
I'm happy to see that you are supportive of the smoke alarm program, and I think that if the fire department participates, then some of the non-working smoke alarms can be addressed. I think that this is a great opportunity for the fire department to begin to build a relationship with the community that the police department has. I think that the police department has ongoing, continuous relationship with the citizens and residents of the city of East Cleveland, not just in a bad way, but in a good way. And I think that the fire department, the police department has PAL, the police department has sports teams, and I think that I haven't really seen the fire department out in the community as much. So I think that this will be a step. I think that they do have a relationship on a more limited basis, but I'm happy that the smoke alarm program will give them an opportunity, the fire department, to build a relationship. In terms of the comments on the speed program of the 25 versus the 35 mile per hour, we're taking that under advisement, and we intend to address the sporadic nature of the signage. I think the mayor indicated that, and other than that, I think that I have from the mayor's point of view.
Thank you. Mr. Austin?
Thank you, Brother Chair. I do want to see what we can do to kind of get the information about reducing the homeowners, I guess, cost for our homeowners, and making sure we can increase the number of companies that are willing to insure homes in our great city. And I believe that the chief of staff said we're going to get the GIS mapping information, so we'll know which sections of the city are 25 currently, should be marked 35 currently, and then get the signs posted to reflect whatever those speed limits are as of today. Correcting the signage is just simply traffic enforcement from the police department. If we kind of step that up a little bit, I think that will help us with a more safer city. And again, respect from our citizens and those that pass through our city to respect the posted speed limit is definitely a step in the right direction. I too support the smoke detector program once it's implemented, and the application should be out soon. Hopefully each council person can get a stack of those applications and take it door to door to those that won't get out. And the free batteries that are available, the 9-volt batteries, critical, and that's definitely a cost savings and a benefit. I thank the chief for making that possible. And again, I do support our police. We do want a little bit more enforcement out there to control the traffic that flows through our city. Thank you, Brother Chair. That's all I have.
Thank you. Councilwoman Juanita Galvin.
Yeah, thank you for coming out and everything, and I do believe that it should have been emergency to pass this, because it is, we have no signs of it. The zone's not even up there saying 25 speed or nothing like that, and it's still, going through our city, and the safety is more important. And also, about the schools, maybe some of the police officers and stuff, maybe we could get with the CEO for the training for the black police, you know, our black children, they go to school and they graduate, maybe they want to for the training, and that can be some kind of, points for college and stuff like that. For, training them for police officers and for the fire department. You know, so, I mean, that would be good to go into the schools, you know, so we talking about what's going on, we would have the schools to support what we are doing as council to train them to be police officers, and you need to, you know, visit that, you know, and, that's all.
Okay. The reason why we went to remove an emergency because we don't think we have the 4 votes. It's all about no, we're not gonna put it up there and it's voted and it's just a waste of time. Now, if I think we got 3, and we've heard one council person has his reason why, and that he has valid reason why. So we dealt with this thing for 3 months, over 3 months now. Okay, so that, to make some progress, if we have to do 2 readings, we do 2 readings. That's why. Okay, my intent was to do emergency. Last time we did it, we couldn't even get a second. So that's why. The bottom line in this situation, if you don't have the votes, you can't get nothing done. Okay, so you have to be strategic and cognitive, thinking these things through. So I think we had another good meeting. We're moving forward. We have a good police department. We have a good fire department. So keep us in prayer. We have to have the economic development to increase our tax base to go to the next level. And I think Brandon King is working on that. I think we're all working on that. That's going to be the key. And that's going to happen in the next 5 years. That we get these businesses come in here, create jobs, pay taxes, build houses, all of that. These, at one point, 40,000 people, get it back up to 20, 25, 30,000. You increase the tax base, Tim, also, we can do a whole lot more than what we're doing now. What time do you have, Dr. Guy?
It is 6:59.
6:59. Health and Safety Committee is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.